Hopefully nobody walks into this room because
Scream.
my house is, I don't know, there's a party going on.
Oh, where do we? Actually, let's start with this. This all lives crap. All lives crap.
Man already said crap.
Because I saw it again on YouTube after football. Shagan will know a football team in Germany, Bayern Munich, had the players wear Black Lives Matters armbands, and then people in the comment section are saying all lives matter.
Lol.
It's a joke.
I keep seeing this. It's very it's triggering.
It's just, I don't know whether actually I do know. In some cases is ignorance. In some cases there's trolls, and in some cases some people actually just don't care about Black lives. Like it doesn't make sense because like there's so many examples, and I'm kind of even fed up with not even having to tell people, or just seeing people having to explain is getting a bit tedious. Like you won't see someone a campaign for like breast cancer or something like that, and then me now come and say all cancers matter. Like yes, we know all lives matter, but right now we can see the struggles of a particular community. Like if all lives really matter to you the way that you are saying it, then you should be able to see that certain communities being affected in a way that they shouldn't be affected and speak out on it.
And yeah, just to add to that as well, like this morning I just logged into I don't know if he was actually there or someone was using his Insta Live, but I logged into Anthony Joshua's Insta Live, and it was at the what did you say, Renee?
I said, what did he do?
No, he didn't do anything mad. But
okay, good.
Thankfully, but the camera was on the speaker in front of the group of people, and in this case, he was saying how if all lives really did matter as well, then we wouldn't even be here in the first place. So that's a contradiction in itself.
Facts. I think I'm very much with Shagan in that it's getting boring now. Like I just don't have the energy, the time, or anything to be explaining why Black Lives Matter or why it's important to keep that slogan. And I think when someone says all lives matter, it's just an attempt to deflect from personal accountability in that kind of movement, and that, you know, how they have contributed to the specific oppression of Black people. Like most of the times I see all lives matter coming from either white people or non-Black people of color that are kind of trying to weigh in and use the whole Black Lives Matter struggle to draw attention to their particular struggle. There's nobody stopping you from starting your own movement. No one is stopping you. There is no, like, I'm just so tired of all of these people co-opting the struggles of Black people to draw attention to their own lives or their own struggles or their own like individual stuff. It's not about you. And it's not even about like us being, what do you call it, excessive or whatever. This is literally hundreds of years of oppression that has bubbled to the surface, and your response to Black people trying to validate their humanity is all lives matter. You must actually be stupid. Like I refuse to believe that, because this is an ignorance that goes beyond normal ignorance into the field of stupidity, in my opinion. Like I think you're an idiot if you believe, if your response, if your like knee-jerk response to Black Lives Matter is all lives matter. To me, that is indicative of your stupidity. Like there's something just not clicking there, at least for me personally. I think it's dumb, so dumb.
100%, 102%. Like it's true, you know. Like thinking about it, even this even supersedes ignorance. Like this is even more than ignorance. For that to be your response to, for that to be, I don't even understand it. I can't even comprehend. Like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't actually make sense.
It's just dumb. Like I just don't get why. you can't even say, oh, I didn't know that this is what Black people are going through, because where have you actually been living? You haven't been living under a rock. Listen, I was even listening to a radio show where a lady was talking about, oh, she has a real fear of Black men because she grew up in an all-white neighborhood and like she didn't really engage with Black people, blah, 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 blah. And her response is all lives matter. And I'm just thinking, why are you using all of these things as excuses? The internet is around, the newspapers are around, all of these things are in the newspapers. There's books on it, like actual volumes of books. And it's not a case of I didn't see, but it's more a case of I didn't choose to see. And that level of responsibility is what people are running away from, which is why they're always like, oh, all lives matter. Like, what the hell is all lives matter? Of course, all lives matter. What kind of stupid admission is that?
You know what? I don't think it's even people not even choosing to see because it's there. Like, something so clearly in your face. They just don't care. I feel like it's even it's part of it. Because for you to see what we have, the George Floyd example, we have the Obi Ahmed example a couple of weeks back as well. We have so many examples on every stage. On no matter the stage, you've seen racism occur. So it's not even a thing that they didn't see or they didn't even choose to see it because it's there, like it's in your face. Like you've seen so many examples of it, and for you to act so oblivious to what's going on is crazy. It's actually crazy. It actually doesn't make sense. And like, what is that excuse that I'm scared of Black men because I'm interacting? So what made you scared? Did a Black man run up on your room in the night and scream boo?
Ask them again. Ask them.
Like,
ask them.
For me, listen, I'm more scared at night, yeah, when I actually see a white lady. I'm more scared because I know that lady at that time, she has more power than me.
100.
So when I'm walking past these ladies and they're crossing the road, in my head, I'm just thinking, wait, I should even be crossing the road for you. When I'm walking past the car and they lock the car, and as if I can't hear the car locking. I'm more scared of you.
They'd be out here calling police on Black men as just for breathing. Like, I don't have time for it. And that's another thing. Like, there's so many elements to this, right? Like, it's not even just like institutional racism, although that informs like the personal racism, but also like the different segments of that interpersonal relationship, right? So Shagan, you touched on the fact that for you as a Black male, I think that's a topic that's not really discussed, how white women weaponize this like sense of them being fragile and, you know, victims and to effectively threaten Black men. Because how many, just in history in general, how many Black men have either been killed or suppressed or in some way threatened as a result of their interaction with white women?
It's mad.
Very mad. Very, very mad.
And I think the worst in this kind of scenario, if it was like a kind of field system, is not just those who are just ignorantly, we know all lives matter, but it's those who instinctively are really choosing to be ignorant and being spiteful. Because there are some people who need to be educated, and once you educate them, they will listen, they will understand. But it's those that are remaining stuck in that position. That's what.
But even the ones, Ellie, even the ones that say they need to be educated, right? I've even gotten to a place where I don't buy that anymore. I don't buy that nonsense. Because where have you been? First of all, where have you actually been in this life? Information is accessible, right? And the only people that need to be educated are children who have not come into any kind of contact with the literature, with the experiences, about anything. Are you telling me
indigenous place like this?
Are you telling me people that go to, you know, the same schools as us, that go to the same places as us, the same workspaces, are you telling me that they have the incapacity to understand racism as it occurs? Because when I was a kid, when I was growing up, it was always, oh, you have to work 10 times harder than this person. Oh, you need to understand that there are certain systems in place that are preventing you from getting ahead. even this whole narrative of Black excellence, the fact that it's even a narrative because Black people are already seen as inferior in some way. So at least for me personally, I don't buy the whole, oh, they need to be educated. What kind of kids? We're not kids out here. Yeah, we're not. I'm so done with that because again, who is doing the education, right? Is it Black people that are having to validate again their humanity, having to validate their experiences, having to point and do free labor for non-Black communities to go and recognize that this is a thing? Like, if you need education in 2020 that racism is a thing,
for real, for real, for real. That's why, like, literally every post that I've put up about racism or anything that I've reposted on any social media platform or anything like that, or any conversation I've had, I've said that yes, I appreciate all the awareness that's going on. I appreciate people are now speaking, brands are saying this and all of that. I appreciate it, and I'm not taking away from them. But fam, it's more than just awareness, because awareness will assume that you didn't know that it was going on.
Yeah.
Or you didn't see it. So it's not awareness that we need. We need change. Like, we need change.
You know what my favorite term at the moment is open your purse. That's what we need. Open. I want to see the coins, because it's enough. Listen, brands are out here, yeah, talking about, Blackout Tuesday, and we stand with our Black counterparts. First of all, I need you to publish data and tell me how many Black people you have in senior management, how many people you have in the pipeline. And I want to hear the experiences and the case studies of these Black people in these organizations before you come out on Twitter and on Instagram to be talking about, we support Black people. No, you don't, because you've done absolutely not a damn thing beyond your performative posting of these silly images, not even images of the struggle, right? But Blackout Tuesday, that's the best you could do as a brand that has millions of money turnover every single year. The best you could do is post a flipping Blackout Tuesday post. I want to see your purse opened. Account details.
Yeah, let's see some receipts. Let's see some receipts. I want to see
receipts, because this is some BS. Like, I just don't have time. And this whole, like, listen, even for me, Shagun, when I say I hear you, because I don't have time to write anything new or post anything new about racism or Blackness. I said, I have been writing about it, right? The same way that so many activists and so many people that have talked about racism have, their life has revolved around it. We're not doing anything new. In your own time, go and read the things that we've already done. Go and educate yourself. I will send you the direction, but I'm not doing anything new, because this is not a new problem. It's just the fact that it has more attention on it. But yeah, with the brands, no, I need to see receipts. Open that purse. Open the purse.
Oh, good.
It's
mad. It's actually mad that I'm just trying to think. I'm just thinking, like, brands actually feel like, yeah, it's okay for them to just come now and just say a little thing, even though some of the ones that are just writing couple caption or some words in the caption, they feel like, yeah, that's justified. They done their 2 pence. Let's go back to business.
Can you imagine?
Nah.
Can you actually imagine? Madness. Open your purse immediately. Don't be out here talking about change, but you're not willing to fund it. Open your purse.
It's so funny. Just a couple of these companies and brands and businesses that have been doing all of this, like, they've been saying all of this stuff, and I know people that work in those companies, and they've spoken out and they've said stuff, like, they've told me from before, and they've drawn up pictures and nothing has happened.
Yep.
And now they're coming to come and say, yeah, we stand with Black people in this time and all of this kind of stuff.
They're feeling their social responsibility.
It's a joke, and which is why, for me, that's why I'm telling people, don't even go and at a brand or at a celebrity or at anybody to go and tell them to come and be posting or do this or do that. If someone actually wants to act on this or actually do something, they will do it. You don't need to even tell anybody to do it. Let's see people do let's see how genuine people really are. Let's see what you're actually going to do. I don't need you to go and tell me, oh yeah, this person should do this or this person should do that. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that.
And if you need to do that, they should pay you, because this is what we're doing here is not for free. God knows we have been doing a lot of free labor. Open your bank account. I'll even send you my PayPal if you like, because nah. Free.
Good. Right.
What do you guys think about the admission by the UK? I don't know if you guys saw this recently, but a couple of MPs and just ridiculous people have been saying that to be a black person in the UK is not that bad, and that, you know, there's no racism in the UK and this is an American problem. How do y'all feel about that?
What?
First off, you actually just refreshed something in my memory. I remember when I think it was Stormzy that was at the Brit Awards or Santander. One of them two was mentioned. This was how many months ago? And all the MPs, everyone was getting on these back. Bare brands were going on his back. What do you mean the UK is not racist? All of this. If the UK was racist, would you be where you are?
Theresa May. Theresa May, was it? When you said F Theresa May, was it?
Sis who was tap dancing when Grenfell fell down.
Yeah.
Sis, she went to go and do a bit of a shimmy to go and appeal to the urban youth. Meanwhile, Grenfell was burning and people were dying. Anyways, what is my...
They're all saying that. And now it's so funny because some of these people that were still speaking some stuff there, like during that time, are now coming to change their tune to come and say that the UK is also guilty.
You get.
Man, listen, I don't know who are you deceiving? You are you deceiving?
Madness.
You actually deceiving.
Sickness. It's a sickness, really, because first of all, America was birthed out of British racism. Like literally the country's entire history was birthed out of racism. The British Empire had the largest, one of the largest, if not the largest, colonial empires in all of history. Yeah. And you are trying to turn around and tell me that there is no racism in Britain. Is everything okay?
I'll even go as far as racism really even started in this UK.
Do you get?
Like,
did you guys know that David Cameron's family receives payouts from the money that was made from slavery all those years ago?
Oh, Ellie, don't even get me started on that one. Do you want us to land this plane today? Don't even get me started.
You know what I mean? How deep do you want to go?
Don't get me started on that one, because we can also talk about the fact that there are certain former non-racist colonial powers receiving payouts from third world or developing countries to this day. As in, even when we look at France is still being paid by Haiti colonial reparations. Ask for what? For colonizing their country. Britain, upon the whole museum, the whole British Museum is just loot, as in just bounty. They've just stolen everything in there.
Yeah.
Everything.
Nah. It's and you have the audacity to come and say that what? Like, it is mad. I don't know whether these people are deluded or I don't know whether they. I don't know. I need to actually get inside their brain. I want to pick their brain so that I actually understand how they're thinking.
Madness.
Like, even if you want to even talk about the police brutality thing, because that's the example that they want you. The only reason why we're not seeing as many deaths as a result of this, because you don't have the license to kill. You don't have guns.
Can you imagine?
You don't have
and
guns.
Even when you did, even without that, somebody explained to me why Mark Duggan is dead, or Rashawn Charles. Like, explain to me why they're dead.
For real.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
And that's even the main. Those are the stories that have hit the headline. There's countless. I know people that have had personal experiences.
Some BS. Some actual BS. Like, even with the police, like, I think the most tragic thing about police brutality is how are we being brutalized by people that were commissioned to protect us? Like, who do we call when the police is the offender? Who do we call?
Yeah, actually cool.
Who do we call? Because it's gonna have to be my G down the road, because he knows what's up or she knows what's up.
For real.
Since the police ain't doing their job.
Nah.
There's lots to it. There is lots to it. And you know what? Like, I'm really still trying to deal with my internal frustration because on the one hand, it's like, oh, it's great that this is like being platformed. But on the other hand, everything just feels so performative and disingenuous. Like, I'm seeing people from my primary school, my secondary school, from all like my university even come out and say, oh, we stand against racism, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just thinking you were an active perpetrator and you have posted absolutely not a damn thing before.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Nah, it's
Isn't it mad?
It's actually mad. It's actually mad. Like I don't even know how to even articulate like the way like yeah. I can't even speak.
Actually mental. Like, what kind of sickness is that? As a you that has not posted a single thing about racism or acknowledgement, all of a sudden black screen and your job is done.
All of a sudden.
Are you not ashamed of yourself when you do these things?
So people are like, oh yeah, me, I'm happy. Yes, I'm happy that the awareness is happening. I'm happy that this is that is being talked about. But at the same time, I'm just looking like you guys you're doing it to cover your tracks. You're doing it. You're not doing it. There's no genuineness in it. Like you're doing it out of compulsion. You're doing it because you saw one of your friends say that any of my white friends that doesn't pose, yeah, you can lock off the friendship. You're not doing it because you can.
Let me even sit up for that one, Shaken. Let's talk about that one as well, first and foremost. Let me tell you, every single man, woman, non-binary identity that has come with their whole tooth to come and start chatting, oh, if my white friends haven't posted, First of all, why were you not having these conversations with your white friends in the first place? Yeah. Why is it only now? My only conclusion is that you are a fool. You're actually a fool. Either you yourself are a fool or you two have refused to engage in these conversations, because there are some black people within our community that have denied, you know, race is a big thing, and all of a sudden have done a 360-degree turn and have noticed, oh, the tide is going towards political correctness and racial issues. Let me speak up. Let me indict my white friends. You never did. Listen, when they were using the N-word and calling you an N-word in private, you ain't said nothing. But all of a sudden, it's like their racism popped up overnight. I refuse to believe it.
In fact, some of them gave them the pass. The pass. The pass. You know?
They'd be out here saying you're invited to the cookout. Not in my house. Not in mine. Mm-mm.
Nah.
No, mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'm tired of that. Nope. Not in my house. Giving a pass to who? You were there shouting. The uns music was playing and they said the N-word. You didn't say anything then. But it's only now you have found gravitas to come and raise your voice and start indicting them.
Oh, nah. Nope. Nah.
Mm-mm.
Boy, this week has been it's been very enlightening. Let's just say that. I don't even want to dwell on some of these things because it's kind of frustrating when I think about it. Like actually, the conversation I even want to have, where do we go from here? Like,
yep.
It's always there's always a climax, and then you see there's a protest that goes on, and then people are outraged, and then it goes quiet again until the next time it happens.
Yep.
And it's just like a cycle over and over and over again. This thing just keeps repeating itself. So like, where do we go from here?
Yep. We need to be so much more solutions orientated than just, oh, this has happened. This is a like outcry. We want to see justice. So I think, at least for me in the short term, I need to see every single police officer that has carried out a crime against black people. I need to see you indicted. I need to see you caught. I need to see real policy reform that holds police officers to account. And even in terms of like training and stuff like that, because Lord knows thousands of GBP, USD has gone into training these police officers in unconscious bias and all that kind of stuff. Nah, man, we need to keep it real basic and real simple. Yeah, real basic and real simple, because it seems that if you're spending this amount of money on the police and it's not working, we need to start looking at more radical forms of keeping civil unrest.
Yeah,
Because when you, like, I just don't get it. When you decide to become a police officer, you take an oath to protect the citizens, and we need to have more sanctions in place. That means that when police officers are actually at harm, or when they commit a crime where they actually, perpetrate violence against people that are perceived as threatening, there are, sanctions for that, and within reason. And we also need to have genuine conversations about unconscious bias, because what is it about Black people that registers as threats unconsciously to policemen? But when it comes to white protesters and white threats, as in white terrorists, it's never racialized. They're never read as threats until it's too late. So we need to have that conversation. And then we also need to have conversations about other institutions as well, because this is not just a police matter. This is just a microcosm of one institution. When we look at our education systems, what are they teaching us? What is on the core curriculum for places in the UK? Because I don't know about you guys, all I learned about for Black history was flipping Martin Luther King.
that's it. That's legit.
What is even that? Because there was, like, I'm done with learning about Henry, the Tudors. I'm done with all them, man. We need to hear about the British Empire. We need to hear about not just the Holocaust, but also the mass killing of Congolese people when King Leopold was up in Belgium.
Yeah.
Because he killed almost double the amount of Africans. So we need to explore why it is that African lives seem to count less than white lives. So we need to have that conversation about school curriculum. Where else do we need to talk about? We need to talk about employment, and we need to talk about work and job opportunities. Because I don't know about you guys, I am done. Like, I am up to here with this whole diversity and inclusion. But when I look at your website and look at the senior executive management, not a single piece of color, no diversity. And I'm tired of engaging with diversity, and it's principally spearheaded by white women. White women are not the champions of diversity. They're not. They're not the chiefs. They're not. I'm tired. I don't want to go to Ring HR about a diversity issue and it's just white women, because that's what I've noticed. We can't do that anymore. So it just, I'm sorry guys, I'm rambling on, but I'm just tired.
No,
These are the places that we need to.
You're boss.
So real, honestly.
Oh, and don't even get me started on politics. Politics, okay. We need to talk about politics, because I don't know about you guys, but apart from someone like Auntie Diane, who, she's polarizing sometimes, apart from Auntie Diane and Mrs. Dawn, the rest of them, man, ain't doing nothing. The rest of them, man, are playing politics. And the rest of them all come from places of privilege and distance from actual people of color communities. And by people of color, in fact, we even need to remove people of color. We need to remove BAME. We need to remove all of that stuff, because I am tired. I can come for so many people today, guys. Honestly, we need to remove BAME. And let me tell you why. Because a lot of non-Black people of color communities have piggybacked on the Black hypervisibility and the Black struggle specifically for their own agendas without confronting the anti-Blackness in their own communities. Because I'm telling you, man, when it's time for you guys to, have there's a lot of people that have talked about having interracial relationships, but some of these communities actively do not like Black people. Actively don't. There's Asian anti-Blackness. There's Mediterranean anti-Blackness. And you can't come and tell me, we're all in this against white people. But to say, when I enter your community, they're just, if not worse. So we need to have conversations about this whole unity across people of color stuff, because that's also a problem. And then, when we're finished dismantling all of these things, we must now look at our own community and think about the intersectionality within these communities. Like, yes, there's a lot of Black men that have been killed by the police, but there's also Black women that have been killed by the police. There's also a disproportionate amount of Black LGBTQ plus community members that are being killed, and the numbers and the visibility is just not the same. So we also have to be having intra-community conversations and engagements about how we can support people from different intersectionalities within the community. So in conclusion to this essay, guys, we got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. A lot.
There's a lot of work.
No.
Can we have that can we have that in the word format, please? I actually wanted to repost that everywhere.
Oh, we have work to do.
I think the last point about our own community, I guess that's where it should start, to be honest. I was speaking to someone yesterday about how, some of us have the tendency to have this energy when, like Shagan mentioned, stuff like this happens, protests, etc., resurfaces.
Yep.
And then when everything fades out, there's black people hating on black people.
Talk about it.
Not supporting each other. We know about the black on black crime as well. Because I was even, speaking to the missus of it, I was saying, like, if we go away after this, fighting Black Lives Do Matter, but I have to be looking over my shoulder because these apparent black brothers and sisters are stabbing me in the back, XYZ, after these protests and everything, that makes them hypocrites. That makes us hypocrites.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That makes us big hypocrites.
100%.
Because if you can't do the very simple, then it's an ultimate contradiction with trying to reach for the stars and try and tackle massive issues like that.
Yeah.
As in, how do you think that we can achieve liberation if you can't even get your own house in order? Like, this whole, and to be fair, it's a bit complicated because obviously we all have different identities. And I think, especially in the UK, blackness tends to be a lot more fragmented, right? We're all coming from different backgrounds, heritage and ethnicity-wise, right? But if you are going to run with, as you said, Ellie, blackness as this kind of unifying identity, I don't want to hear nothing from, when it comes to supporting, black businesses, black initiatives, I don't want to be hearing nothing. Okay, I don't want to be, we can critique each other, but I don't want to be seeing any active breakdown, right? And also, I hope this does not apply to you two, but I personally, I don't want to see another black man tear down a black woman on Twitter because I will come for his neck. I will entirely just...
It's incredible. It's so incredible.
Break his neck. Break his neck.
I feel like from a young age, where you hear like jokes of, your weave stinks and stuff like that. Man, do you know what? Yeah, I kind of thank God because from a young, like in school you do stupid stuff, but like still from a young age, 16, 17, I started to question it as in like, but probably the person you're going to date or marry or whatever is going to be wearing the same thing. And they are, in this context, your brothers and sisters. So how does that even make sense?
As in, you actually have family members. I'm assuming that you've, had a female relative in some capacity, whether it be your cousin, your mother, or your sister. And you're really out here talking about, black girls this, black females that, black whatever. And do you know how unfortunate it is for young black women that are like, oh, do you know what? I actually want to, especially the pro-black ones at least, right? Actively looking for a partner and, not only having to factor racism from other communities into that choice, but also are we going to face racism from our own community? Like, and the whole colorism debate and the whole like hair debate. Like, I can't count the number of times I've had somebody ask me something that I'm just like, is everything okay in your home? Like, is everything okay? Is everything in order? Even the whole hair situation, people don't realize how much Black women's hair has been politicized to the point where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Like, it's a real thing where people will engage with you differently. Like, for example, when I have my natural hair up, people engage with me differently to when I have my hair in weave or when I have it in braids. And it's just like knowing that you can't really win as a Black woman anywhere. That's incredibly frustrating. And obviously, I can't speak on behalf of the LGBTQ plus community because that's not my experience, and I definitely don't want to erase their voice in this. But for them, that again, the added layer now of identifying with whatever sexuality or whatever gender just makes it even worse. And it's like, damn, when is this gonna end? Like, I just don't think that you can confront racism externally from other communities if you haven't dealt with what you're dealing with inside. And definitely, I think something like colorism definitely plays into it, because even growing up, it was always the light-skinned girls or the mixed race girls that were seen as the most desirable. You know, the ones that are exotic but don't really, the ones that are close enough to blackness that they are, you know, within reach, but then still have some proximity to whiteness, that they're not the same. And I'm tired, guys. I'm tired. Can you talk to your bros? Talk to your bros. We're tired out here. We're tired.
No, we must.
Yeah.
It's our responsibility. We definitely have to. 100%. Yeah. This is
I'm talking to my bros. I've been talking to my bros.
Listen, Shagan, we need more of you, because I'm still coming across them. I'm still opening my TL in Big 2020 and seeing a couple man talk nonsense about black women, and I'm just like, but where do you think that you came from?
It don't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
It actually doesn't make any sense. Like,
Nope.
you have to actually kind of question. You have to question the mindset of some of these people sometimes, because, like you were saying, like, I don't know where this even stems from. Like, why they're your own kind. Like, what color are you? What color is your mom? What color is your sister?
Ask them, because I don't think they understood the first time.
So it's a bit mad. It's a bit mad. In a sense, you're actually hating yourself.
It's really self-hate. That's precisely what it is. Precisely what it is. And I just don't get how it is that, you know, you can be projecting your self-hate onto people like this. And I'm tired. Like, the fact that even thinking about being with someone in the future, like, I've had this conversation with a couple of like my other black female friends, and all of them are like, well, then how are we, if we actually want to like consider dating black men, why does this need to be a factor that, you know, he might have a lot of internalized self-hate that he will project onto me? And that's not to absolve black women in perpetuating certain stereotypes as well, because I definitely think that there's some areas there to address as well. But why is it that there's such a, like, I don't know if you guys have come across it, but it feels like some guys on the TL particularly are trying to say that hating black women was almost a phase that they went through. What kind of...
It's stupid. It's stupid. It's so stupid, honestly. I mean, it's better to just put your hands up and say you're wrong. That's just a scapegoat. It's literally just a scapegoat.
Yeah. Wait.
Some BS.
Like, there's so many avenues that need to be tackled. There's so much.
Guys, we've been fighting a lot of fights this week. Because I don't know if you guys also came across the sexual assault case in Nigeria as well, where a 16-year-old girl was, trigger warning, content warning for those of you that are watching and tuning in, please mute or like decrease the volume or whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. But there was a young girl who's 16-year-old was raped and killed by a guy. And what frustrates me about these kind of conversations is, are we still seeing victims of sexual assault as the blame of, as to be blamed for these kind of things? Like, I was seeing a lot of Nigerian men comment and say, oh, but you know, she's known for XYZ, and this is a 16-year-old girl, mind you. And it was really sad, because adjacent to like Black Lives Matter, you have this whole other movement of, I'm seeing with both women and men come out and say, yeah, I was abused at this time or this age, and da, da, da. And I'm just like, wow, like, we just need to put the entire world in rice, or we need God to just press reset and start again or something, because...
Shagan, did you say manure?
No, I said no, for real.
No,
the whole world, they just need to put in rice.
Rice, entire rice. Rice. You need to put the
That's
whole world
mad.
in rice.
I don't understand that. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know how you can justify such a mad act, such as rape, and try and justify it by saying that you're basically saying that the person made you do it. The person made you do it. Like, what the hell? Where does that make sense? What other? Give me another scenario where that excuse can run.
Ask them
Where
again,
that
please.
excuse will even be entertained.
Like, why is consent such a difficult thing for people to understand? You're not entitled to anybody else, period.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the discussion? Like, where was, oh, she was doing, this is a 16-year-old girl, mind you.
Mm.
As bad as the cops, as bad as those cops killing black people.
It is.
Bruh.
It's mad. Like, you decided to go and sexualize somebody in a way and then go out of your way to go and invade that person's privacy.
Can you
And
imagine?
now you're blaming that person. So what about so that same excuse, what you want to use it to justify the acts of pedophiles as well? Because that person decided to sexualize that child. You think it's all right now to go and invade that person's permission, invade that person's privacy.
I'm telling you guys, we need to put the world in rice. I've come to the conclusion that we just must put this world in rice.
At what temperature?
Oh, Ellie, it's gonna be boiling. Defo boiling.
I think we need to boil it, and then even after freeze, we need to freeze it. We need to even
Do you
freeze
get?
it. Because it's too mad. It's actually too mad. It's actually too mad.
Man.
Oh, wow, I didn't even hear about that story. That is crazy.
And you know what the worst thing is, that this is just one case.
Ellie, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started.
It's crazy. So did they catch the guy that the guy
That,
or was it guys or was it one person or?
It was a guy. But I don't think they've caught him yet. I need to check the updates on that. But there's been a lot of like fundraisers and awareness raising stuff that's been going on. So when that happens, of course, man, it's gonna update y'all. But stay clued up, because the world is looking real bleak at the moment, and it's tight.
It's mad.
Unfortunately, in cases like that, men will tend to hide behind either the money or their status. That's another obstacle you'd have to get them.
It's so true. It's so true. Guys, next time we gotta find a happy something that's something light to talk about.
I'm sharing the street, but like my head, I'm just thinking. I'm just in deep thought. I can't even.
Right.
I'm actually just in deep thought.
We need some more joy in this place, because if you think about these things for too long,
no, you can't. No, do you know what? I have a confession, because just on what you just said, Renee, like up until today, I have not watched the live video of George Floyd, because when I found out and I just saw the picture, I'll be honest, I'm still a young man, but kind of a young man, grown man, but I was close to breaking down. I was close, So yeah, I'm definitely regarding that point 100%. I just can't watch it.
Do you know what's even unfortunate about that actually is the fact that you got it. Like you didn't need to see the video, and I think there's something to be said about the fact that many of us are becoming desensitized to seeing Black people treated like this on the web. Like the fact that there are some people who had to watch the video to understand that this is a problem in of itself.
Yeah.
And the fact that the proper respect is never given to Black people that die in police incidents or any other incidents, right? Like this fetish for like evidence culture is really sad. And it's sad that people have to collect that for this kind of action to take place. It's so sad. And it just makes me think, wow, as you were saying earlier on, Shaken, that's just the ones that we know about because people had to film it. Imagine the ones that weren't filmed.
Mm-hmm. It's mad. And then deep, they're trying to say third degree, man.
Third
degree, my foot.
That one almost spun my mind. Honestly, it almost.
Wait. I feel like I'm moving, man. I'm moving planet.
I was about to say, but Shagan, where will you go in this world?
I'm moving planet. Okay. I was thinking I was gonna say I'm moving, but everywhere's concerned. But I'm moving. I'm moving.
NASA just launched into space. You know, they're doing their thing, enjoying it.
Nah, I ain't trying to go to Mars, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
You're not trying to go where?
Mars.
Mars is lit.
There ain't nothing in Mars.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll cultivate the land.
So you can be planting your mangosteen.
I was waiting for this. I knew I had it. I knew it's coming.
Of course.
That's literally my worst nightmare. Ellie, can you imagine going to Mars and all they've cultivated there is mangosteen? Ah!
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's amazing. The thing is, you're laughing at this. You're making a mockery of one of the most game-changing, the most life-changing, the most tastiest, the most delicious fruit. This is why this is fun. Cause when you taste it, yeah. Anyway, keep mocking it.
I think we need to release some merch that has mangosteen, like just a line dedicated to mangosteen.
Yeah.
Unscripted mangosteen merch coming out soon. All royalties go to Shaken.
I haven't saw
screaming.
Someone will put up a picture of a mangosteen in the story. I was so happy that they actually knew what a mangosteen was. And then we just drifted for a while because we both know, you know?
You see when you put that post, mango and mangosteen.
Mango and mangosteen.
You had us in mind. You're trolling, innit?
I did. In my head, I was typing the thing and I was laughing.
Oh, Shagan, when all of this is said and done, we'll lay some hands on you and we'll pray for deliverance from this mangosteen obsession.
I don't need deliverance.
We'll keep you.
Need deliverance. That's like the Israelites praying for deliverance from Canaan. Come on, mate. This is the land of milk and honey.
I'm actually completely.
I don't need to go back. I don't need to go back.
I am done.
Well, if mangosteen is anything like Croydon, then I'll be able to join your side.
Renee and Shagun have left the chat. We've left the chat.
All right. Undiscovered or unappreciated, land, then definitely I'll be joining you on that one.